And since COVID-19 hit our state, nearly 4,000 nursing home residents have lost their lives to the virus.
That's out of 8,800 people total in Connecticut who have died. Now, breakthrough cases are still popping up, but what does the overall picture look like in our nursing homes now? Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc is here with us live in studio with more on that. Good morning.
Good morning, Tim and Erica. Well, there's no question the picture of what our nursing homes looked like a year ago was scary. And there's still COVID in congregate care settings now, but now deaths and cases are down. And the people I talk to who work or have someone in a nursing home say the overall picture looks better. If you look at Julia Cox and her dad John now, you may never know from the sparkle in their eyes the darkness they faced a year ago.
I hadn't seen him in person for months.
90-year-old John Cox lives at the Mary Wade home in New Haven. Now Julia gets to visit him in person on a weekly basis.
My father is much happier and able to enjoy his time so much more so than a year ago.
A year ago, everything was uncertain. Nursing homes were on lockdown and COVID started sinking its teeth into our state, hurting our most vulnerable population the most.
The energy was just so heavy. People were so tired. The constant state of emergency had taken such a toll on so many people.
That heavy feeling also hitting Masonic in Wallingford.
We leaned on each other quite a bit because there were some times where you would hear somebody would get COVID and you wanted to stop it. You wanted to be able to find ways to stop it, but there really was no true way to do it.
The bad actor here was not the nursing homes. The bad actor here was this really insidious virus.
Matt Barrett represents more than 100 Connecticut nursing homes. He says we didn't know enough about COVID-19 at first.
Persons not exhibiting symptoms were transmitting the virus, and that wasn't well understood. And that's one of the main tragedies of this story.
Thousands living in our nursing homes lost their lives because of that. Data shows to this day they still are, but not to the same extent. Leaders in the industry pointing to one dose of hope.
We learned very quickly that that was really the start of us being able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
The vaccine opening nursing homes to events, celebrations, and visitation, but they're forever changed. All nursing homes have someone in charge of infection control, and the feds are offering guidance saying visitors should never enter the building if they have a positive COVID test, symptoms of the virus, or are under quarantine. They should wear a mask and follow CDC guidance, and residents should be in cohorts, and there should be separate areas dedicated to COVID-19 care.
As far as communicable diseases go, nursing homes are safer than ever.
What's different now is the beautiful sound of noise and laughter. You hear people laughing and activities happening and the hustle bustle of a community that's kind of back in motion.
It's a lot better. It's a happy time for, myself and the residents. I know we still have to wear the mask, but they always say, I could see you smiling with your eyes.
Booster shots bringing even more hope, but the community must stay the course.
This could turn quickly, and our fate for Connecticut nursing homes and congregate environments is very much related to the prevalence of COVID in the community. And so if COVID were to rise dramatically, we would be very concerned that these numbers would also rise dramatically.
They all know the future isn't certain, but it's brighter.
It has been a really huge change in a year. And I think day to day, maybe we don't notice it. But when I talk with you and think about how hard it was this time last year, I'm just so grateful for the progress that we've made.
Now, across Connecticut, an average of 91% of nursing home residents are vaccinated, along with 95% of staff. They're still working on getting everyone up to date on those boosters, though. Tim and Erica.
This is one of those stories where I think I wind up with more questions than answers. I know Mr. Barrett said the big variable they couldn't account for is that people who weren't showing symptoms were spreading the virus. What I want to know, and I don't know that we could ever sufficiently answer this, was that enough to account for why Connecticut and the entire Northeast got hit so hard in the early stages of the pandemic, so hard that it almost took us 2 years to not be among one of the worst affected places in the world because so many people died. And I say that because one of the things, we've been forced to learn about this virus on the fly, right? It's a brand new virus. But one of the things we thought we knew right from the bat was that this hits older people much harder. That always turned out to be true.
Right.
We never doubted that.
Right.
So could we have done more? Could the governor have done more? Could these nursing homes have done more to make sure these people were not sort of sequestered together, just passing the virus around, even the symptomatic people?
Yeah, I think that's a question that we're going to be asking for years and years and maybe even decades to come. But one thing that Matt did say is that the problem with Connecticut is we are right next to what was the epicenter of the virus at that time, which is New York City.
Exactly.
So whatever was happening there, unfortunately, happened to us. So he just wishes we knew a little bit more early on in the beginning because they weren't separating people that weren't showing any symptoms.
Yes.
And we didn't have testing available
and
at that
that's
time.
a very good point. We were one of the first people to have to deal with this, one of the first areas, at least in the United States.
But the good news, we've been hearing it throughout that story, things are changing. We heard it from her. She said a year ago, they couldn't be with their loved ones, and we heard heartbreaking story after story.
Yeah, and those vaccination rates are very encouraging. Julia, thank you for that report. It is good to hear it.